Defending is hard. Of all the Age of Empire 4 skills, it is the one that takes the most practice, as well as the one that is the most demoralizing to practice. Playing civs that require strong defensive skill sets often feels like you're getting your face beaten over and over again, even though you are improving each time you try. My goal today is to explain the thought process and steps to a good defense, and also give you some video examples of defensive principles in action. Before I jump in, an obligatory ask to please like and subscribe, as it absolutely is massive for a channel my size. I also have a coaching and community Discord where I offer paid coaching, and also there's a lot of other ways to support you. You can ask questions. There are people in the Discord who are always willing to answer questions, as well as myself. And we're always cheering each other on when we try to do tournaments or just grind the ladder. So if you're interested in that, follow the link and check it out. Let's first start with why you are defending. Before we jump into how to defend, let's talk about why you are defending, as it often has a huge effect on the goals in our defense. First, you are booming, which means you're investing more into resources than into your eco. In this case, your goal is to survive until your eco advantages kick in, allowing you to then overwhelm your opponent who has a weaker eco. This is often seen with the second TC or trade. In both cases, you have less resources to put into units, so you have to play smart to ensure your opponent does not do too much damage to your economy, and you're able to then overwhelm them with your better eco later on. You're rushing castle, which means you're investing more into getting better units. In this case, you need to survive till you can get better units on the field in enough numbers to push your opponent back and then do damage to them. For some civs, castle is also an eco boost, such as with Order of the Dragon and HRE with the Regnitz Cathedral, in Japan with the Floating Gate giving them the Yoroshiros. Any civ can get the relics though, which provides around 2 to 3 villagers worth of gold each relic. Third reason, you've lost an engagement or an advantage, and now you need to use defense as a way to make your opponent make a mistake and regain that advantage. This might happen if you attack in feudal but your opponent successfully gets the castle or a second TC down. This might also happen if you took an engagement and lost your army, while your opponent still has lots of units. So let's move into the steps of defense. When defending, it's important to have a mindset of, I wait for my moment, protect only the most important thing, such as landmarks, eco, and production. Defense often fails when people take bad engagements and don't wait for either an advantage or the time for your investments to pay off. Another important part of defense is scouting. It is vital you're always scouting to see where your opponent is going and where you have space or time to set up defenses or build units, and if your opponent changes units or strategy, a lack of sight will lose a fight. So let's go over the steps of defense. First, set up defenses before it's too late. If your plan is 2TC or castle, then it's worth to set up walls and towers to help delay the opponent. A well-placed tower with arrow slits or a wall on the flanks can slow an opponent's push and save villagers, which could be the difference between winning or losing. I always suggest that you put a tower on gold or any exposed resources, especially before your opponent pushes. You should also set up walls on flanks to prevent your opponent from easily encircling your base or to secure extra resources. There's a fine line though. Spending 500 wood on 5 towers is not worth missing out on a production building. Units are always better than static defenses, but a tower that you can then use as a defensive anchor for your archers and spears, or a tower that offers villagers more garrison space to wait for your defenders, are huge to your defense. If you do set up one tower, it is worth to send 5 villagers to stun, or 3 if you're HRE OTD, for 1 round of gathering to get that tower upgraded. Arrow slits increase the damage and range of that tower, and allows it to attack without units in it. An upgraded tower is often the difference between longbows or a knight killing a villager or not. The second step is use the defender's advantage. The defender's advantage is 2 main factors. First, it is you are fighting near defensive buildings such as a TC or towers that are also attacking the enemy. Second is that your new units are appearing right at the fight, while every unit your opponent makes has to cross the map. This means that your army can increase in size faster, and if the fight is in any way even, you will end up on top. These 2 factors in the defender's advantage often make up for the difference in military size. Third step, use a small group of units to cut off reinforcements. Your opponent is often traveling across the map to attack you with units that are often weak on their own. A huge way to slow your opponent's tempo is to send a small group of units to attack the middle of the reinforcement line. This does a few things. First, it kills units often without sacrificing your own units, allowing you to catch back up in unit count. It might force your opponent to back away, to chase your raiding party and delay their push, or it'll force your opponent to keep reinforcements at home until they are in a big enough group to travel safely, buying you time to take out the original attacking group. A big part of defense is buying time to let yourself catch back up, especially if your eco is booming, which is why you're on the defensive in the first place. The fourth step is raiding your opponent's resources. You often hear from high-level players say that the best time to raid is when you're about to die. That's because your opponent is most likely to have put everything into a push, leaving their eco completely exposed. Killing villagers will slow down their eco and make it so no reinforcements are being able to be sent, and if it's severe enough, might force the opponent to retreat to stop this raid. These raids should only be a few units, often cavalry, though any units will do, so you're not sacrificing your entire defense to do this raid. You should focus on the following targets. First, exposed food. It is easy to anticipate where your opponent's food villagers are. If they're being aggressive, they're most likely burning through food and have sent villagers to food on the map. So any deer packs and boars for most civilizations, and berries for civs like Delhi, Ayurveda, Japan are great to check. A small tip is that in the fog of war, deer and boar will disappear if they're being harvested. The second is gold. Gold is easy to guess, especially because if they're making units that are gold cost, they will need to be on gold. Especially if the game has gone post-feudal, so you're in Castle Imperial, gold will be very, very important. Cutting off gold, even for a minute or two, can quickly slow down the flow of units. Third, exposed woodline. You can often predict where the woodline workers are. Opponents almost always start with the closest and work their way out. During defense, it is important to constantly be using your resources. Unless you're rushing an age up as your primary way of survival, then it is vital you're putting your eco to use. Every unit counts. When the bush comes, use your base to its maximum value. You want to try to pull opponents' units deep into your base for a few reasons. 1. Melee units will stack up in choke points, giving your ranged units in siege a chance to do more damage than in open combat. 2. It allows for TC's outposts and keeps the shoot down on units during a fight. 3. If an opponent lacks scouts or towers, their vision will make it tough for them to find vills or react to siege or surprise unit comp switch. Lastly, if you have the APM, have your towers, keeps, TCs focus on weaker units, such as ranged units. If they're firing on the most heavily armored units, it'll take too long, and you want to make sure that the ranged units, which are most likely to be taking out your best units, are dead. Once you push your opponent back, be wary of rushing out to counterpush. Often the opponent has been making military and rallied it outside your base. Instead, use this as a chance to reinforce and gain space. Set up walls or keeps elsewhere to secure resources. Use scouts and towers to see opponents set up. Is there a chance you can push? Then lastly, send a raid while opponent is trying to regather an army for maximum damage. Defense is often about surviving multiple attacks and wearing your opponent down to counterattack at the right time. These counterattacks are often taking space, reinforcing, and going again and again and again. I'm going to show you an example of a game where I had to play defense for a large part of it and then finally pushed back out. As we're watching the game, I'll be talking about the things to be looking for and the examples of defense in action. In this game, I'm playing as China against Japan. Let's consider this matchup before I go into the areas of defense that you're going to see. This is 4 Lakes. I'm playing against Japan, which is considered one of the best hybrid water civs. Partly because when they get out docks, their fishing ships are cheaper, which means they can get out more of them compared to any other civ. 2, if he notices that I'm going all in on fishing, he can go cook a township, get out Shinobi, which allows him to disable my docks and just ruins everything. Playing against this, I've already lost against Japan like this multiple times, so I'd try this new strategy. I'm going to go 2 TC from the jump and just try to outproduce him villager-wise. If he goes super into docks and is slow, I can maybe rush him, try to get some eco damage. If he doesn't do fishing, then my eco will just match his. So that's kind of the thing I'm betting on. Ugly start here, almost ruined that. That would have been bad. But you're going to see that I'm basically going to have to defend for a while until my eco pays off. So we're going to move through the mid part of the game to where I'm first feeling that pressure. Knowing I'm going to be defensive, my first important decision comes at the 5-minute mark. I have a defensive landmark, the Barbican of the Sun, and I need stone to get my second TC. I'm basically afraid that he's going to rush at any moment. I notice he goes secure his storehouse, which means that he saw me going to a TC, so he's not doing Coca Township. He's also going to focus a little bit on eco, and he's not getting the amount of ships I anticipated. I'm already anticipating a Japanese fast castle into knights. I draw my Barbican the Stone, which also will protect, if you look at my vision, kind of gives me 2 encircling defensive positions. If he comes in this way, he's getting shot by TC and Barbican the Sun, which also defends this deer up here. I then plan on putting my second TC on my gold. This ensures that I can get to castle safely, and once again creates kind of this line of defense. I'll have a defensive ring here. I'll speed this up here so you can see it. I'll have a defensive ring here, a defensive ring here, and a defensive ring here. And my food is in the back the whole time, just giving me a nice separate spots of defense. I'm also going to start thinking about where can I wall up, where can I put towers. At the 8:30 mark, he's hit feudal, and then he's almost immediately dropping castle. I am scouting the whole time. I have to know what he's doing. I have to know what he's trying to go for. I notice he's dropping a floating gate and a stable. I'm expecting knights. I immediately get down to barracks. I also start building outposts. I know I'm going to have too many villas to safely protect, and my outposts, if I can get them upgraded, will do damage. I was thinking about going 3 TC, but I realized that's too greedy. I won't get that 3rd TC down in time. So instead, I decided to just use all this extra stone I got to just upgrade all my towers. I also go fishing, knowing that he's not going to be aggressive on the fishing. He only has fish on this island, I think this island, and he hasn't come to take mine. I then go fishing late to help boost my fishing eco. I'm already anticipating that he's going to dive my food to try to slow that down. If I can get fishing, it's going to help me a lot. At the 950 mark, we start seeing his initial push. I make sure to have my spearmen split between my different spots of eco. I have 2 spearmen near my gold. I have a tower near my gold that I'm upgrading. I have a tower near my food and wood. I have spearmen near my food and wood. I'm always going to make sure I have units and towers near my areas of defense so that I can stay protected. I should have been scouting a little bit better, but I already knew what was coming, so I'm not surprised. I should have been scouting a little bit better to see if he was making any changes, to see what he was going, where his villagers were. But at this point, I know what's coming, which is huge for my defense. I'm just going to play this pretty casually. Anytime he runs up, I hide my villagers. I let my towers do their work. But everywhere he's going, he's getting shot by multiple areas of defense. Create this nice pocket. His knights are dying, and if I lose a few villagers here and there, it's okay. I'm making so many, but I also make sure to get textiles so that my villagers can take extra shots. And notice, he just can't survive under this. Anytime he sends knights in, they nearly die. I keep putting up more towers. I keep upgrading them. And my goal at this point is, can I get to castle quickly? I just need to get to castle. I notice here he has more knights building up. He's going to try to do a push. As long as I just keep making spearmen while aging up, I'll be fine. So I don't stop making spearmen to age up. I trust that I'm going to keep getting my fishing eco up. I have plenty of food under... Well, I'm starting to run out of food, but I'm doing okay. I can get to castle if I just keep making spearmen. I don't lose my scout, but I have to run him in because he gets damaged. He tries to do another push. Once again, think what he's running under. Town center, outpost, another outpost, and spearman. He just can't live under this. Still using all of those things I've talked about. I scout and know where he's coming from. I make sure to build up a defensive force. I'm still moving towards my goal of aging up. I've kept up a defensive presence. I haven't gotten walls up yet, which I really should have tried to get walls up earlier, but those are going to come. At the 1250 mark, he goes for another dive. I don't panic. I continuously set up outposts. I put my villagers in those outposts. I have my spearmen chasing to make sure that his knights go away, and I just move my villagers around. I'm not panicking. I let my towers do my work on his samurai. I keep moving my villagers around. And another key thing I do is that I don't overreact. I don't send all my villagers away. I send my villagers over here gathering on the berries. And whenever his units come near mine, I just hide them. I notice he doesn't have a scout, so I know he can't see very far. So I'm not overreacting, just chasing, getting him out of my base, letting my defenses do work. Once again, I'm not taking an engagement way far out. I'm not going to chase him away. I'm just fighting where it's safe for me. I age up, and now all I need to do is get a lot of crossbows, keep going spearmen, and I'll be fine. Now is my opportunity to keep setting up my defenses and waiting for that moment I can catch up. I'm getting my fishing up. I'm going to have more villagers than him. I just got to play safe and just not die. At the 15-minute mark, I do the important step of protecting space for myself. Now, I wish I had been... One critique for myself is I need to scout better, but already I'm doing the raid. I'm going to continue to be sending groups of 4 palace guards out on the map to just check different eco spots for him, and continuously pull him back or make him chase my palace guards. While I'm doing that, I'm setting up a wall near my current food eco setup, knowing that if I can solely secure this right side, it's going to be big for me. To secure that right side, I'm gathering stone. Getting a keep up is going to be vital, either in my base if he does a really big push, or on one of these golds over here to secure the gold. Because once I use this gold, I have these 2 side golds, but these will be exposed. So I definitely want to make sure I have a center gold that I can at some point secure. But these walls will ensure that I'm funneling the fight into this one spot, which is where all of my units are. You also notice I'm keeping my units back in my base. I don't want there to be any chance that if my units are standing here, I get hit by mangonels or get surrounded. So my units are staying safe in the pocket of my defense under all these towers that I built and my TCs. At the 1620 mark, I see him trying to build a tower. I want to try to prevent this as much as possible. I want to make sure that he cannot easily just get vision on me, so I'm going to run out, quickly poke and kill the villager, and run away. He's still going to get the tower up probably, but just these little things help me also give vision. I notice he's going to build a siege workshop. He's going for the long haul. My palace guards have now gotten to the back of his base, and look what I've already done. 4 palace guards have pulled all of his knights, 2 samurai, 3 samurai. That's a lot of response. He also pulled his villagers off the cocoa not the Cocoa, the Kura Township, and has moved them closer to his TC. Or he might not have been on the farms anyway, but that's my hope, right? He himself has gone 2 TC, but my TCs will be faster. And he has fishing, but since he never stopped me, I have fishing too. So we've actually equalized a lot. But that's the part of this raid. I was able to come up and kill this villager, slow him down, and I delayed the attack he wants to do on me because he's chasing 4 palace guards with 16 knights. So causing these overreactions of raids, it's huge to buy myself time because that's all I need. He has outproduced me. I have 26 military. He has 55. So I have to buy myself time to keep making more military and get out my advantages, such as my nested bees and other siege. As much as possible, I continue to set up safe pockets for myself. I'm going to wall this side, which protects my gold here a little bit more. I wall up this part here because I don't want him to rush through and rush my villagers that are on the north side. I even sneak back and start grabbing the stone because I see he's focused completely here. So I have to take a risk here. The defender usually has to take a risk at some point. In this case, I'm sending my villagers out because I need a little bit more stone for a keep. I'm also having all my wood villagers north away from the fight. I'm purposely trying not to over-harvest to break my walls, so I'm going to bounce from this wood line to this wood line to this wood line, just keeping my villagers away from the main fight. And as always, I'm always making villagers, I'm always making units, because at some point I'm going to have to defend, and I'm going to have less units than him. I have 48, he has 63, he has slowed down his production, I maintain mine. Part of the reason is because he's going imp. So I'm behind, but I just got to use my defensive principles, and I will be okay. Let's kind of watch this siege battle play out. He's going to work down this second TC of mine, which actually at this point I'm kind of okay with. I already have 100 villagers. It's not like I need to keep that TC up. So what I'm thinking about, is this the point I push out to stop this? No. This TC can go down. It is okay. I do start producing spring ults. I already have 3 nested bees, which is a really solid number for me. If I can get out a couple spring ults, I can kill any siege he has working me down. I let the TC fall. Once again, it is okay. I have my villagers, I'm fine. He starts working on my main TC, or on this village here, which is fine. I roll up 2 springlets, and this is when our engagement starts happening, because I see he has springlets as well. It's all about being patient. Roll away. I see the mass units. I'm not engaging. He's scared. Once again, his vision's not amazing. He can just see my units here. He probably guesses I have nested bees, and he's afraid of getting stuck in my base. Shout out to him, he actually did wall up as well to try to stop raids. But something he didn't realize, which I'm going to take advantage of later, is the market. If you try to wall through a trade post, you actually don't block it out, they can run through. So if you ever have walls, you have to put it behind the trade post, in front of the trade post. It's just a little tip. But now we're going to kind of play this game of like dancing back and forth. This kind of siege battle here. I'm going to repair my spring ults. He pushes in, and here's what I identify. I identify the elite mounted samurai as more dangerous than his elite samurai. Keep in mind, I'm fighting castle against imperial, and I identify what is my most important thing staying alive. It's my nested bees. My nested bees cannot die. He is purposely trying to split me to get to my siege. I'm going to run back, and if you're not China, your mangonels are the most important part. I'm going to run back and sit on my nested bees because they have to live. You notice he's trying to pull me apart. Really what he should have done, he should have ran his samurai all the way around and tried to attack my eco. But he knows these nested bees are the most dangerous part of this. I'm going to sell out my spring ults to killing his, so I've already shift-clicked onto them, and I'm literally just sitting my units on my nested bees. I'm not walking out. Unfortunately, these spearmen are sacrificed, but you notice I'm just staying encircled around my nested bees. They are the most important unit. My crossbows and spearmen are working down his elite mounted samurai. He had an opportunity here to just go wreck my eco, but he's so worried about this nested bees because he realizes that's the thing that's keeping me alive. He keeps circling, he keeps circling, he keeps circling. He can't get to them. This entire time, my towers, my crossbows wore him out, and he lost almost all of his elite mounted samurai. Defensive technique. If I had walked out to engage, I would have lost. If I had ran away, I would have lost. I sat in my most powerful spot around all my defenses, all my power units, my nested bees, and let them do work. I'm once again not going to push out, but instead I'm going to reinforce and create another layer of defense for myself. In this case, it is my Imperial, well, first I'm putting up these stone walls so he can't easily get over to my gold, but 2, my Imperial landmark of the Great Wall Gatehouse is a great defensive tactic. He's not paying attention, so I walk up and kill these spring ults. While he's not paying attention, I could tell he was focused on something else. And then this is the moment of truth. I have to get this Great Wall up. Now that I've identified this is the most important thing, I'm going to sell out to do it. I cannot let him kill this. He notices and he starts working it down. He has his bombard, he has his trebuchet. I'm gonna roll my springlets up and attack, and I know it's gotta live. So I will actually send my units forward to delay. I kill the bombard. I send my units forward, and I get it up. I was willing to take that fight and sacrifice, because if that bombard stayed up, my Great Wall of Chaos doesn't stay up, I stay in castle. This now plays a huge defensive bonus for me. And since I funneled him into this one attack spot, he feels stuck here. I just keep repairing it, because it repairs with wood, because it's a landmark. During this time, in the back, once again, since he's focused completely right here, I set up a keep on the large gold, and now this is my pocket area. And now I just have to, once again, play smart, don't die. At this point, I'm still considered pretty far behind by the game. I have 106 vills, he has 76 military, he has 114 military, 72, or 114 vills, 72 military. So technically he's still ahead. I just have to play smart. I get my upgrades. Once again, I'm upgrading my nest of bees. I'm upgrading my springle so they have extra range. 1, 2 trebuchets are still not going to kill this landmark. I repair super fast as China. At no point does he really try to push through a different part of my base. If he had put more pressure by having knights attack up here, or trying to attack up here, that would have been bad news for me. But he got tunnel visioned in, and I used that to my advantage as much as possible. I'm not going to try to push out, because I kind of have to push out at this point. And I feel confident. We both have elite units. I have a lot of nest of bees. And I know his comp is almost completely melee infantry. My nest of bees tear up his comp. My springlets kill all of his siege. Once again, I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to throw my units away. I see he's got keeps up. I want to work down all of his production here. So I want to make sure he's not producing things behind me. I kill his Imperial Landmark. I just play it safe. And at this point, the tables have turned. What I can't do is what he did, which is take a bad engagement, or throw units away, or not be prepared. So I'm just going to work down everything. I'm going to play this nice and cautious. I keep my siege back. I build a cannon. I'm just going to work down all his siege workshops. I'm gathering my resources behind. Securing this pocket of resources have been huge. And I'm just going to keep raiding. I get up Yuan Dynasty. Once again, using my civ's advantages. Yuan Dynasty makes my units very fast. Once I have that, I start making him, and I have more secure gold. I make King Cannoneers. I make Palace Guards. This also gives me vision, so I can keep sniping his springlets whenever they come out. He's trying to defend this palace, but he can't. At this point, my comp's just better than his. He can't get enough samurai to break my crossbows and my King Cannoneers. And we just start playing this grinded out game. I will destroy everything he has because I don't want him to surprise me with anything. I protect my siege. I just move up bit by bit. As I move up, I will continue to tower, so I have vision. Anytime I feel like I'm taking damage, I back up. At this point, I know if I just play smart, if I just play within myself, I'm going to be okay. I keep getting stones, I keep making towers. I break through, and at this point I know I need to go do eco damage. And then I break off. I break through, I see this is his point. I'm not going to do what he did, which is where, well, I've picked my attack point, I'm staying here. I'm now going to go raid and use this chance to catch up. I know he has to be on the gold over here if I'm the gold over here. So I break through and I split my units up and just go for Vil kills. Kill off his gold. Chase, because I'm fine on eco. I can keep making more units. I need to force him to chase me. I run back to his eco. I'm just killing villagers everywhere. He has like 3 TCs. So I'm not necessarily slowing him down, but I am keeping him off the gold, which is the most important part. As this is happening, I kill his keep. I just keep building towers and slowly working my way up. The worst thing that can happen is if everything dies at once and now he's rushing back in, I'm going to keep up the pressure, keep slowly pushing back. And I know, once again, securing resources, right? As you gain space, secure resources. I know this is the last big gold. I'm going to drop a keep on it and make sure that he can't push out from that point. And at this point, it's just wearing him down. I hope you found that illustrative of the defensive principles I was talking about. If you have any questions or feedback, please let me know. And good luck on your games.